Hi, this is Richard Blade, and you're listening to the BlueZone Podcast Network as it presents Permanent Record, an in-depth look at the classic albums of the 70s and 80s, albums which have earned a permanent place of honor, both in our hearts and in our record collections.
So we are very, very excited to be joined once again by two of the best friends a show could ask for, Sarah. Rowe and Von Hertzog. They were with us for a 150th episode. We had hit a landmark and they were kind enough to join us.
That's right.
And I think back in the lockdown, we asked them to meet with us for about 75 minutes. 3.5 hours later, we finished up. They're very kind, very patient. And we are here with them today because they have some new music, which is going to be released tomorrow. Maybe today. Vaughn, can I release this next Thursday?
Sure. Whenever you're feeling. What do you feel like?
Then the song will be out tomorrow.
Okay.
And of course, you can listen to and buy that new track. It's going to be called When Morning Comes, and it will be available on the band's Bandcamp site, which is vhxrr.bandcamp.com, or just type in vhxrr.com, and it will take you right to their page where you will see that their fantastic EP, On the Shoulders of Giants, which came out last September, has exactly one copy left on compact disc. So why not be the person to snag the final copy of that EP?
Yeah, that's a great idea. And then you can brag about it to them on the socials, right? You can follow them on Twitter and Instagram at VHXRR. And on Facebook, you can find them at VHXRR Music. And of course, we will have all those links in the show notes, as we always do.
So that was a lot of talking on our side here. Let's make sure they are here with us.
Yeah.
Guys, are you there?
I am here. Thanks for having us.
And Vaughn, are you around?
I am. Thank you for having us and for premiering the song.
Sure. Thanks for joining us. It's an honor to
absolutely
premiere.
An honor.
Yeah, we are so excited to get the chance to introduce some folks to this great new track, When Morning Comes. So I was thinking we should just ask you right up front. Okay, here's the thing. The chorus of this song hits exactly at 1 minute. And I was going to say, we'll play the first minute of the track and then we'll fade it to a quiet level and we'll start talking over it. But if we do that, they're not going to get a taste of that chorus. So how much of the song should we share without our chatter over top of it? You think we could play it up through that first chorus?
Yeah, sure.
That's what we'll do. We're not going to do it quite yet because we here at Permanent Record Podcast have been obsessed, as you know, for the past couple months with Depeche Mode's Memento Mori.
Yeah. So we were just curious if either of you have listened to it yet, and if so, what have you thought about it?
I have not listened lately. When it came out, I listened to it quite a bit. I would say I listened to it more than any Depeche Mode album I've listened to since, I don't know, Violator, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And it's their best in a long time, I think.
I told you right when I heard it, Always You was the song that is my vibe.
Yeah.
Through and through. I was listening to, was it the second podcast you were doing where you were saying you noticed that a lot of people kind of warmed up to that song slowly.
Yeah.
But it grabbed me out of the gate for sure.
That's right.
That's still probably my favorite off of the whole album. It has such a good groove to it, It feels old school in that regard.
Now, you've often, I'm not going to say you've complained, but you've often mentioned that you wish that Depeche Mode would sort of kick up their lower end. And
they did.
And you mentioned INXS is like someone they could aspire to in terms of that bass sound. Did you hear any improvements on this one?
Well, for sure. It definitely sounds more modern. I was more or less lamenting the old albums I wish that were made contemporary to Kick would have sounded more like Kick. And even, some of the 90s albums. But this album had plenty of low end, especially Always You.
Yeah, right.
Which I think is part of what grabs me, and that ARP. I love ARPs. I'm a sucker for that stuff.
Yeah, I actually think the single is at least on some of my devices, my Sonos in my living room. It's actually a little bass heavy, I thought, but what do I know?
Again, my hip hop leaning ways. I like a little more low end. Doesn't hurt.
I'm certainly not going to sit here and talk to you about Depeche Mode for too long because we're here to talk about some new music by VHXRR. But one thing I thought of as we were getting ready to talk to you guys was that, Rob, back in the very first chat that we had, I think, you mentioned that over the years you had received a good number of requests and offers from like artists who wanted you to come put vocals on like a Depeche Mode cover. And you said like you didn't really take them up on any of those because it didn't seem interesting to you. And you had some ideas of what might have been a better option for them. But I didn't follow up at the time, but I was just wondering, like, what do you think the connection is with people wanting to hear you sing Depeche Mode? Because you're not like a Dave Gahan sound-alike. You have a very different vocal style. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think, especially with the first album, Sean being a huge Depeche Mode fan and him really learning how to compose and put parts together from listening to mostly what Alan was doing with Depeche Mode. I sang low. And so we just sort of like kind of got lumped in with them. And I agree with you. I don't sound anything like him, but I think there's just a connection from that time back in the 90s, I think, because we were kind of going at the same time. I think I told you like one request I got to sing on some cover, and I was like, why don't you have a female sing on it? It'd be like much more interesting of a cover. Why do you want another baritone to sing a Depeche Mode song? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's just not that interesting, Well,
that's interesting to hear about Sean and you guys learning to write songs from kind of paying attention to what Alan was doing. I never put you guys like in the same, I don't know, classification as them, but like Red Flag, if you remember Red Flag, I think they were trying their best to be Depeche Mode. I never got that from listening to Cause and Effect.
Obviously a huge influence, as they are on so many people. Yeah, I agree. I think sonically, the first album had like similarities in structure. There's a lot of like counter melody going on. There's lots of nice little synth things that go between vocal lines, which, Alan's like the master of doing that. And Sean was too. So I understand that similarity, but none of the songs sound like anything Martin would ever write. And a lot of the themes are different. It's just, I just think like people maybe don't always look deep enough. And I'm sure there's a bunch of like new metal bands that I would say like, oh, they all sound the same. I do the same thing because I don't know the genre, or you could say that all EDM sounds the same. But if you were like totally into EDM, you would, see the differences within those songs, So
that makes sense.
That's a good point. Yeah. So, all right, enough Depeche Mode talk. Let us talk about your new song, which is called When Morning Comes. So excited. Very
excited. So even before we talk about the music, guys, the first thing I have to ask you, because I can never be happy with what I have. I want more. Is this the first single from an EP or an LP, or what is this, a one-off single? What do we have to look forward to in the future?
As of now, it's a one-off, but I mean, we have no intention to stop making music. It's just, it took a while after the last EP to kind of regroup and kind of recharge the creative energy. And this was kind of just the first thing we've gotten to. But yeah, I hope to keep going.
I think I'm done. Yeah.
All right, you've heard it here first. But
yeah.
The
along
end.
With me.
No. I'm excited to work on more stuff. Vaughn sent me this track, and I was like, "This is very cool." Like once again, a totally unusual but super cool bass line. That's what like first grabbed me when I heard it.
Yeah. So when did you first get this material? When did you first start working on it?
I think it was just like a month or 2 months ago, maybe April, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's awesome.
Seems like you got a lot accomplished pretty quickly.
Musically, I kind of had a good sketch down for the beat out of the gate. And then Rob caught a vibe and it didn't take long.
Oh, that's awesome.
In fact, I wrote the chorus and sort of the second half of the verses that lead into the chorus. I think that took about 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that doesn't happen all the time. I wish it did. Yeah, but the rest of it, which is funny because if you say the rest of it, it's basically like 4 lines. That took weeks. But the initial idea took 10 minutes.
Oh, isn't that funny how that stuff works?
Yeah.
I remember you saying you had Calm Down Lover for years and you couldn't figure out what to do with it. And then when you got the music from Vaughn, it all fit together. But that's so funny. You had Calm Down Lover for years, and then you came up with this track, When Morning Comes, in 10 minutes, most of it. Crazy how the mind works.
Yeah, I wish it was like that every time. Be a lot easier.
I'm reading a book called The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. Annie sent it to me for my birthday. And there's a lot in it about like just that there is a creative force in the universe out there, and artists have the ability to tap into it if they focus and concentrate and listen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that happened musically for me on this. And I'm pretty sure that's how Rob always writes. So I'm pretty sure that's how the lyrics came together.
For sure.
You know, when you're in the middle of it, that you're in a zone. You know what I mean? And you catch that vibe and you try and ride it. It's like surfing almost, right? Like as long as that wave stays up. And you know when it's done for that day, and then hand it off and get some space from it. Come back fresh.
Are you enjoying that book?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I read every page like 4 times before I turn it.
Oh, wow.
Because it absorbs differently every time I read it. It just does. Like every time there's just like a little piece that reveals itself differently. And it's been a great book. Kind of reinforced a lot of the things I was already doing, but didn't realize that like other people totally knew this thing too. I've just been like feeling blindly, but this is almost more of like a way to channel it and harness it and get into that way of being naturally, always being open to that stuff, not just when you like try to do something.
That's cool. I always have to check my brain to remember what I currently think about Rick Rubin, because in the 80s, I loved him. He produced Electric by The Cult, which was a great album. But in the 90s, he did this terrible, terrible remix of Queen's We Will Rock You. It was actually called We Will Rock You, Ruined by Rick Rubin Remix, was actually the name of it. And I hated it. And then like 6 or 7 years ago, he did that amazing, I think it was on Showtime, 6-part interview with Paul McCartney. It was just the two of them sitting in chairs talking about music. And it was so good that I re-embraced him. But I had a double check in my head. Do I like him now? I forget.
Well, he's hip hop royalty. He co-founded Def Jam Records with Russell Simmons and produced, the Beastie Boys' first album, Run DMC's first album, all the way up through Jay-Z, and onward. So I think he can be a bit of a dick sometimes, but I think he comes from a pure place. You know what I mean? Like, I just know, like, I saw a story about he met with Beck like in the 90s, and he's like, he picked us up in his Rolls Royce and he's like, hey, I heard your album. I think it's really good, but I think you can do better. You should throw it away and come in the studio with me.
Oh, wow.
And they did not bite and went on to win Grammys for it. So, like, I think sometimes you can believe in yourself too much, perhaps. But I think he tries to come from a good place, but yeah, that doesn't sound like a good move at all to approach someone like that. Like, get my Rolls Royce and let me tell you the business works, kid. But like I said, he's produced a ton of stuff that I love.
Yeah.
So, and the book is good so far. So
that's awesome. I'm glad
he's okay in my book for now.
Well, I'll tell you what's okay in my book is the groove of this song. I love the groove of this song, and there is so much going on in the low end. We just established you're a big fan of the low end, and it's true. And our subwoofer picked up those sounds when we were listening to it just a little bit ago. It was great. And we both also noticed some really rumbly sounds in the bottom that are kind of coming in the intro and then between the verses. They sound kind of ominous. Can you tell us more about them and how you came to include them in the song?
So when I sat down to work on this, I kind of had an idea in my head of like Justin Timberlake and Timberland were like working together. And I just remember like how they had stuff come together. And so I tried to get into that, like find that groove, you know what I mean? Which I found with the bass line. Like that was kind of like that, and the driving drums kind of like move it along. But it's a slower tempo than normal. It's not 120 beats a minute, but I don't think it has to be. I don't feel like the song drags at all,
No.
That is so amazing to me. Like, obviously I'm not writing music, but like I get the feeling that if I was working on songs, I would get the drum pattern in place and I would get the bass in place and I would be 100% satisfied. I would be like, oh, that part is done. But the fact that like you listen to that and you're like, there's something missing here. I don't know.
I started with the bass. That, like the ARP of the bass, and then, laid like a basic drum pattern down, just so I could kind of hear how it sounded. But then I felt that it needed that kind of like rumble, that kind of thing, which I did. I just used a different sound and I used like the modulation wheel on it and then some reverb, so it had a tail to it, and it just felt like it gave it more space. Because I feel like often on records, the low end is kind of like just the same. It tends to be like even, and like lifeless, for the most part. And I think there's lots of texture to play with down there that most people don't. And it's like, it's a large part of the frequency spectrum that people can neglect. In my earbuds and everything, it sounds amazing, because the lows come through. And I thought that little bit on top gave it a bit more dimensionality and space.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it saves the song because it is a slow tempo, but it's not, not too slow, but I think it saves the song from being kind of a plodding tempo and, very relentless. This gives it some interest. So great move on your part. I'm very, very impressed.
Well, thank you.
Now, speaking of this very cool intro to the song, we haven't really played the song for anyone yet. So why don't we right here give you a little taste of this song, which will be available to purchase tomorrow. Woo-hoo. And then once we get to the other side of the chorus, we'll come back and pick up our discussion on the track. It's very interesting what you said about listening to it on your headphones, that you can hear all that action in your headphones, because during the week, getting ready for this, I spent a lot of time just listening to it in my car. And until today, when I listened to it on headphones and then on the main stereo with the subwoofer, in my car, I wasn't getting a lot of that low-end action that is so impressive sounding in the beginning of that track. So hopefully people could hear it there in their headphones as they listen to this.
Yeah, I actually heard it more in my headphones than you did this time. That's kind of unusual for me, but I picked up on it right away. I was like, wow, that's really, really cool.
And that's just because they are sub-bass frequencies, so they're under 50 hertz. They're very slow and low.
Very long, though, very long waves.
Correct.
Yeah, you remember. Very
this
good.
This guy remembers. Not just talking into the space and then no one listens. I appreciate that.
He retained that information.
So the first time I listened to this song, that first verse and the pre-chorus sounded like they could have been from a classic early to mid 90s cause and effect song. Of all the VHXRR songs that I listened to, this is the one that hit me most. Like, wow, this sounds kind of like cause and effects. And then that mid-song instrumental break with the sounds there, the intriguing electronic sounds that you use in that instrumental section, that put me in mind of like the early 2000s. So I was just wondering, as I was taking sections of this song and assigning years to them, I was just wondering, is it annoying to you when folks connect your work to music of the past? And would you be happier if people just heard this as contemporary music from the third decade of the 21st century? And what's wrong with that?
My hope is it can be both.
Okay.
Like it can feel contemporary and new, but if someone gets that nostalgic vibe or something, yeah, again, like the persistence of memory, we can't escape it. It's always there. And if you lived it, you might also have lived through those similar influences, and it will resonate with you the same way, you know?
We, as humans, just love comparing things to other things. That's just what we do. We always want to find similarities in comfort or, categorizing things. So that's just what we do, right?
To tie it back to Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin and Andre 3000 were in a podcast, and they were talking about how it's almost like you can know too much when you listen.
No. Sarah will tell you I don't know too much.
No, but how, like, if you're watching a movie and you can tell it's a special effect or an ADR line, it takes you out of like that magical moment kind of thing. You know what I mean? Right. That type of thing. With music, it can be the same type of thing. You know what I mean? Like if you've listened to a lot of music, you might always end up associating it to something because I'm sure it's somehow derivative of that. You know what I mean? Via trickle down influences or whatever. But we're all living in the same time and we're all absorbing all of it at the same time. And there's just going to be overlap. But I don't think that's bad, just because something feels recognizable. Like you're saying, this song can feel like a new song from us, but it can also feel like an old song from Cause and Effect. I understand why. Yeah. 50% of that is the same. But I think they're both valid. I think it can sound similar to that, and it can also sound new and fresh from us, and both can be true.
I agree. And obviously, like even if you played something from the 90s to like some 14-year-old kid, they might not know that it's from the 90s. It might sound fresh to them, So you have too much knowledge. That's the problem.
Know too much.
No one has ever accused me of that before.
Isn't that a movie, The Man Who Knew Too Much?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the song and things that we love about it. Another thing I love about the song is the horns that come in before the third verse. Oh my gosh.
She's been talking about these horns for a week.
Every time I hear them, I get so excited. The horns. And am I correct in thinking that this is the first time we've heard horns in a VHXRR song? And if so, what prompted you to use them?
The first time that I think I've used real horns, like actually sampled brass as opposed to that you can play. There's a instrument you can get. It's got like 26,000 samples that are like articulated to how hard you hit it and everything, so it sounds more like live brass when it plays. But actually, like that build up section originally had like the brass building there, and Rob was like, that sounds too much like real brass, like rough it up a bit. So I did, and that's how we got to that big kind of like giant build.
Oh, okay.
In that bridge part.
What do you have against brass, Rob? Why was it too much?
I just thought because it did sound so real that it sounded like a little out of place with all of the electronic stuff. So I just thought by layering something more synthetic, it could be synth brass or something like that. I just thought that it would like make it gel with the rest of the track a little better.
So I added like 8 layers.
Okay. Well,
to build.
Well, I love it. And at the risk of, I don't know if this is going to offend you or not, but it makes me think of the Aha song, I've Been Losing You. And that's to me one of the best Aha songs of all. And I love them. So it's giving you a compliment, but I really love the horns in this song too. And it's just a wonderful effect.
Well, I'm glad, because when I was adding them in too, I wasn't sure, is this too, like, am I coloring too far outside the lines? And then I realized there's no lines. Color wherever I want.
Yeah, didn't you use a real saxophone in Golden, like years ago?
Yeah, that was someone I actually recorded, though. Like, they came over and performed live.
Right, but, I remember. But, I mean, it worked.
Right, but I remember Rob's comment to me in the first email back was, I don't usually like saxophone, but this was cool.
So you've hated the brass line for a long time, Rob.
Well, it's taken me 8 years to add it, so.
It's just not my thing, man. Unless I'm listening to jazz or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, again, it's just like another color you're painting with, right? So if you're not coating the canvas in it, it can work, more like an accent, like a spice, not the main, like not the tomatoes in the sauce. It's more like the basil.
Oh, I like that.
I think I mentioned this to you before. I'll repeat myself because I'm an old man, though. one of our early episodes about Tears for Fears songs from the Big Chair, I said that the song Working Hour was no good because it had an annoying saxophone solo in it, and that no song was ever improved by adding saxophone. And like that was like that was pretty early in our podcast, and we weren't hearing from too many people at that point in time. But suddenly we got a number of emails telling me how stupid I was, and like, what about Careless Whisper? What about this? And I fought it for like a while. I came on and defiantly said, like, you can write to me all you want. I stand by what I said. Saxophones are terrible. But really inside, I was like, yeah, these people are right. I probably shouldn't have said that. And I think I did admit it eventually.
Yeah, I think you walked that back.
I think anything can be to taste. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, would the Lost Boys movie be the same without Tim Capello, like, killing it on a saxophone? I don't think so.
There's a time and place for everything, I guess. And sometimes it just surprises you that it works well.
Like, that surprised me in that movie, you know, when I was a kid and there was giant, like a muscle man with a saxophone. I was like, what is happening? You look like a wrestler.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess let's stop talking about saxophone. Let's talk about the lyrics of this song, right?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so Rob, we kind of got a bit of an indication on this. How fast did the lyrics come to you?
The initial lyrics in about 10 minutes.
Oh, that's amazing.
The really cool thing is, and I've told you this before with some of the songs on Artificial Construct, I remember mentioning this same idea to you, but there are lyrics in this song, for instance, kiss me once, last time I'm drowning in a raging sea, and another line, but I'm so tired of running from my demons in the dark of the night. This song and those lyrics just contains like such a high level of drama and angst that it instantly makes you feel like how you remember feeling when you were 19 years old, listening to your pop music and being caught up in your wild teenage emotions. And, you know, the music meant everything to you and every word had another meaning. You did it to me with Artificial Construct, which was when? Early 2000s? Mid 2000s? Mm-hmm. So now we're
20 years later,
20 years later. Can you easily write these lyrics as a middle-aged man? Or do you have to like mentally get yourself into this state where you can still connect to that person within you and pull these super affecting lyrics out of your brain?
They really just kind of come to me. And I think I've talked about this before. It's all visual. As long as I can see scenes in my head, I can write fairly easily. Once I have that story or that scenario pictured, then I'm just sort of dictating at that point.
That's so wild. Like Heavenly Outline, those lyrics draw you in too. You get totally caught up in those lyrics, but this one is just so much darker and so powerful. Like there's nothing dark and powerful about Heavenly Outline. That's like a good time in your life that you were remembering and writing from. And this one is just heavy duty.
It is heavy duty.
Yeah. It's not completely about a real scenario, but it was definitely influenced by a real scenario. We lost a very, very cool guy named Jason Cottam here in Seattle. Great bartender, great friend. He used to work with my wife. And unfortunately, he like took his own life last month.
Oh, man.
And so I didn't intend to write about it, but as soon as the "Forgive me if I don't wake up" lines came out, I was like, oh, I was actually mad because I was like, I don't want to write about this. It's too soon. And I fought it for a week. The reason the beginnings, the verses took so long is because I'm like, I don't want to write about it. It's just too soon. Like I've written a lot, about a lot of stuff, but it's usually like 5 years after the event, 5 years after my dad passed, I start writing songs about him. So this just seemed too soon, so I fought it. And I actually wrote an entirely different song about the state of America from the perspective of America, if America was a person. And like, it was okay, but it wasn't, it felt forced and wasn't genuine. So I had to come back to this so I could finish it. So if it's heavy, it's heavy for a reason, for sure.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That's interesting to hear.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear about that loss. That is awful. You sound like you were very conflicted because normally it took you a while to process something like that heavy and to be able to come up with something creative out of it. And in this case, it was like very, very quick. That must have been really strange for you.
It was, for sure. Usually I don't know what songs are about for sometimes weeks. But obviously, because this was coming from something that was like so present and had just happened, that obviously it was obvious. So, but, and there is this like conflict. It's like, am I exploiting something by using this scenario, this terrible thing? And so you're like, am I taking advantage of that? But again, the best song, you just can't fight it. Like, the song was telling me what it was supposed to be, and it was quite cathartic to write it,
Right. Like, that's what I was thinking. When you say cathartic, I'm thinking that this was part of your processing of it. And instead of processing it in a different way, like you would with other events, and then took you 5 years to actually write about it. And in this case, for some reason, the way that you are processing it is through writing, and instead of just however else you might deal with it.
Yeah. I was meant to come up with a better, less depressing description of what the song's about.
That's okay. We could lighten it up a bit.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's funny that you said that you wrote that second song that you ended up not using about America, because even when you listen to the song as it is, the first couple times that I listened to it, the end of what I call the first pre-chorus, we have lost our minds, there's no way you can disagree. I actually was convinced that the rest of the song is about something else. It's about a relationship and about two people. But those two lines, I'm like, that's social commentary. Like, maybe not just on America, on the whole world, maybe.
Yeah, I think the reason the song went down that other road was because of that line that kind of influenced that direction. But again, it's just like, it wasn't as good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't inspired by the ether.
Right.
It was forced. So.
Well, we will get to hear it in 20 years when the 20th anniversary reissue comes out with all the bonus tracks and demos and all those things. So I look forward to hearing it then.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I did mention lightening it up a bit. Yeah. That's a heavy topic. Maybe this question is a little bit silly, but I just kind of wondered, it's for each of you. Are you a morning person or a night person?
I used to be a night person, but now I am absolutely more of a morning person. Sometimes not by choice. Sometimes there's that 4 a.m. insomnia that kicks in, which is interesting because sometimes I will get up that early and work. And obviously if I'm working on music, I've got to be in headphones and got to be quiet. And so a lot of stuff I've been writing lately because of that are these much quieter songs.
I think I'm similar in the sense of I've shifted as time has gone on. In my 20s, when I created between midnight and 6 a.m. And then I'd go to the food cart and get a sandwich, and then a breakfast sandwich, come back, and then sleep until 2. That was my early creative path. Obviously, I can't do that as a functioning adult, but I take a long time to wake up in the morning. 60 to 90 minutes of coffee and decompression before I'm able to face anything. Otherwise, yeah, it doesn't work out for me. I'm just not built for the morning. And I don't know, from the pandemic onward, I can't sleep past 7 a.m. I'm usually up between 5 and 7, and it's often involuntary. So then it's about 90 minutes until I can do anything.
Yeah.
I wish it was different.
Yeah. That's frustrating. I feel for you guys. I do.
If this was a movie,
partially why I love coffee so much.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that gets me started.
If there was a movie about VHXRR and there was a section where the two of you both woke up at the same time, we'll say 4 a.m., it was split screen. On one side, we'd see Rob immediately get out of bed, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, immediately go down to the studio and start playing music and coming up with 2 new songs. And on the left side, we would see you woke up and you go sit at the table and drink coffee. And the whole time he's writing and singing and dancing, you would just be nursing that cup of coffee for the whole 2 hours.
I like it.
Well, I'll tell you what. On my days when I really get to work on VHXR stuff from scratch, I'm just starting something brand new. I'll wake up, hit the shower, fresh pot of coffee, and then I'm down here as soon as I have my coffee. And I'm starting as the coffee goes. And then as that starts hitting, the ideas start going and it gets easier. But on a day where I don't get to go make music first thing, it's not an easy start.
We just saw the lead guitarist from the Smithereens at a house concert. I don't know if you remember the Smithereens, but one of the things he's doing, his name is Jim Babchuk. One of the things he's doing is that he just started his own coffee company. And I think he has like 4 or 6 different
types of roast.
Roast,
Mm-hmm.
But if coffee is the fuel that drives VHXRR, we should get a VHXRR coffee brand going.
Once
In my
you
spare
have
time.
Yeah. Yeah, get on
I'll
that.
learn how to roast coffee in my spare time.
When you're not wiring speakers together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's honestly where all my time goes. If it's not, VHXR, if I have free time, it's going to speakers.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I've enjoyed about all of your records and singles have been the visuals for each of the releases. So let's briefly touch on the visuals for this new song.
Yeah. I'd like to do that too. So how did you come up with the picture for this single?
It's a really nice image.
Thank you. It's composited together. When I sat down to make the music for the song, I put on the movie Vanilla Sky. And so by the time the movie was done, the beat was done, and then I sent it off to Rob. But I named the beat Vanilla. So I knew I wanted the Vanilla Sky reference in there somehow, referenced by the sky, and also When the Morning Comes ends up fitting that movie pretty well, if you remember it. Monet's Vanilla Sky was the differentiator from the movie when he had started the lucid dream and was crossed over into the fake reality. And so that's what you see.
That's really cool. I love that you were inspired by a movie.
And I like taking the negative space from the buildings to create the X.
I know that was my favorite part of it. Yeah, it's pink, right? It's like a pink X. It's perfect.
Beautiful Vanilla Sky.
I know. Now, as the buildings, is that like a real city, or is it any city in particular?
It's a photo from Manhattan. Yeah,
okay.
Looking up, that building configuration does exist like that in nature.
That's super cool.
Now, if I remember correctly, you guys are both trained in graphic design work and visual arts and things like that, right?
Yes.
So do you trade off on responsibilities for covers for VHXRR, or Bond, do you normally lead the
I usually spearhead them because, for the EPs, we hired the artist.
Right.
So it's kind of been for the singles. And yeah, I'm one of those people who when I hear songs, I picture things in my head. You know what I mean? So often when I'm working on them, I get some sort of idea of what I think it should look like. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of try to composite it together.
When Vaughn sent me that image, about half an hour before that, I said to myself, Rob, maybe you should think about some artwork for this single. and then half an hour later, here comes this artwork for the single. I'm like, okay, I guess I don't have to think about it. It's great. It's perfect.
Have you been called upon to do any of the single covers, Rob?
I've not. The only thing I worked on, what was the one that I photoshopped myself in too?
Shattered Bones. Yeah.
Shattered Bones. That's right.
Yeah.
With the shoes?
Yep.
With the shoes. Yeah. I saved Vaughn having to mask me out and do that one. It can be kind of a tedious process. So I saved him that pain.
Well, and I usually just take the lead on the covers because I try and keep Rob's workload as minimal as I can. So he wants to keep making music. If I can handle the rest of the, BS, then, you can just focus on making awesome music.
Okay, I understand that. All right, you previously have established in our talk today that this is, at this point in time, it's a one-off, but your goal is to create more music. You guys previously released a trilogy of EPs that were linked visually. So this is a new focal point for the band, and one that doesn't have to look like anything that came before it. Are you excited to be able to create a fresh visual identity for VHXRR?
Yeah, I think musically it's just more liberating too. I feel like the trilogy, we were finding our sound, to be honest, by the time, where we started and where we ended on that. We were figuring out who we were. And I think now we absolutely know who we are. And so I'm just excited to keep doing whatever the hell pops in our heads. I think that's the best possible way to do it. And that's why, I say it's a one-off, but I'm sure there'll be future ones that follow behind it. But I don't think I want to, at this point, pick another overarching topic to tackle. Mm-hmm. I'd like to keep it whatever inspires.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear you say that. We've never discussed that, but it was kind of liberating. If you'll notice in the lyrics, I do not mention stars or moons or planets or the universe. So, having that theme was really great. for being focused and really helped write the songs. But it's nice to not have those constraints now, because it definitely, towards the end of the third EP, it was like I was really struggling to come up with, different visuals and stuff. So, yeah.
It's funny that you say that, because we're about to segue into some questions about some upcoming solo things. And you do know that for the solo song that we are going to talk about, that you put some vocals on for Vaughn, you mentioned stars in the first line of the song.
Yes.
But I think there's a double meaning in that.
There's actually a double meaning for the type of star that they are.
Yeah.
Like The Stars Are Out Tonight by David Bowie.
I gotcha. See, I wasn't smart enough to pick up on that. All right. See, I told you guys I didn't know too much. All right. So,
you know plenty.
So we are going to get some news on some solo music that the guys are working on. Now, Vaughn, I know we definitely are going to get some answers from him about this, but we can't talk about solo projects without pestering Rob. The question that he knows is coming.
Pestering is a good word, right?
Do we have any update on a future White Weights project?
No update other than I'm still working on it. I've actually written 3 more songs for it, maybe, or I may end up splitting them up into, smaller chunks, EPs or something. I'm enjoying writing. I haven't spent a lot of time on White Weights lately because I've been working with Vaughn, and I also been working on a collaboration with a group of guys that call themselves Visors. They're on the East Coast somewhere. So I've worked on a couple tracks with them. These days I have fairly limited time. I don't always have insomnia, so I don't have those mornings every morning to work. So, but I'm enjoying working on the White Weight stuff I have worked on. And, we talked about mixing and learning the process of mixing and just getting better at engineering and stuff. That's been going pretty well. And I've been having fun with that. So
that's great to hear. If I was going to go into my local record shop and look for Visors, what section of the record store would I have to go to?
It's all like they put out just a bunch of like dance stuff.
Okay.
Like 12-inch vinyl and stuff like that.
Very cool. Well, we'll be keeping our eyes open for that.
Yeah.
Hopefully when something's released, you'll share it on your social media.
I will definitely let you know. I think there's no hard release date for we've got one song completed and there's no hard release date for it. I think they're interested in like talking to labels and things like that. So, but I've done my part. I wrote the song, I sang, and it's in good hands. We'll see what they can do with it.
Very good.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good to hear. Always like to know when there's new Rob stuff coming out.
Definitely.
And there is more Vaughn stuff coming out too, right? Because we know that you're working on all tons of different stuff. You're crazy busy, but one of the most exciting things is another new solo album. So can you tell us more about that and how it's different from your previous works?
Sure. A couple of years ago, we lost a family friend to cancer. And last summer, I went through his record collection and took about 2 crates of music back. And I immediately started sampling, putting them on, listening to stuff, immediately getting inspired by what I was hearing, deciding, how to pitch it up or down, whatever. And I just started making beats. So last summer I made, I think 7 beats, and then I didn't touch them. I did version 1s and walked away. And then this spring I started opening them up again and going back fresh. And, I had all new ideas. Then I was like, all right, I need to start getting these to artists. So I hit Rob. He was gracious enough to say yes. Thank you, Rob. Annie I'm working with her on 2. Zarina has a track. I also have some hip hop guys coming on, Reef the Lost Cause, who I've worked with before. Some guys who I haven't worked with in 20 years from hip hop are going to be on. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. And my favorite part is like, I'm letting the artists do whatever they want. And the style and genre is definitely different. So they get to flex different muscles. You know what I mean? It's a whole other way of songwriting for them sometimes. And it's more like trip hop style kind of stuff. So more along the lines of like Portishead, who I played for you guys in the car.
Yeah.
On the way to Philly that time. And that style of 90s sample based production. I don't know. I love it. Everything I've come up with so far, every everything people are returning is unbelievable. Rob sent a fantastic song back that we're still in the midst of, but I shared with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think?
Oh,
is it all right?
That's a great song. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really, it's so different
Yeah.
than what we're used to.
Right.
I mean, I really enjoy it. But if you told me that this is a song from the same two guys that released the Cosmos EPs that I listened to for the past 3 years nonstop, I would have been shocked.
Well, yeah. And that's what I said to you when I heard it. I was like, man, it's so cool that you have the same, base ingredients as VHXRR, but the end result doesn't sound anything like VHXRR. It's like awesome that you can do that.
It made me think of Mardi Gras for some reason. The first time I heard it, I just thought of like a really damp, humid location and Mardi Gras. I don't know why.
Yeah. I thought of The Mexican, like the movie with Brad Pitt.
Okay.
And Julia Roberts and James Gandolfini.
Yeah.
It reminded me of those horns, Love those horns.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, speaking of that, when you received the tracks for that and you sat down to come up with a melody and lyrics for it, did you think about that song differently than a VHXRR song since it was a solo project for Vaughn?
Yeah, I think the track is fun. Like the sample in it is just so odd sounding and sort of meandering. I just had it on loop and I was just improvising and stuff, and it was not going well. All of a sudden I got this image because that lead line, to me, all of a sudden I got this image of like an old Italian noir movie or something. And then that kind of triggered a few things, but I just couldn't get the melody. I couldn't get a melody that I liked until I started singing like an operatic Elvis just for fun.
This has got to be a bonus track.
I hope we can hear that somewhere.
That was not on the scratch tracks.
That stuff has not been saved. But but from doing that, this line came out, and originally the line was "Señorita, where did you go?" Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, it can't be Spanish because I have this Italian thing, so it's "Señorina, where did you go?" And as soon as I got that line, the whole story kind of fell out, and I finished it fairly quickly. That was another one that I sent back, I think maybe a day and a half later after you sent it.
Yeah, it was shockingly fast. I was like, what?
Is this a joke?
That's surprising to hear, because you started that story by saying you were having trouble coming up with the melody. And so I pictured this being like a problem child for you, but a day and a half later, you're done. That's amazing. So it wasn't a huge problem.
Yeah, operatic Elvis to the rescue.
To the rescue.
Oh my gosh.
I think I mentioned that before. Sometimes if you sing differently than you naturally sing, you just force this fake character that or imitate another singer, that will produce melodies that you would maybe not come up with normally. At least that's what it does for me.
Very cool. It's interesting that you also mentioned about the film noir, because listening to this song with the first two lines talking about stars and snow, I was seeing the imagery in color. And then you get to near the end of that first verse and you say there's a line, his perfect smile and perfect chin. And for some reason, when you mentioned a perfect chin, it switched everything to a black and white movie in my head.
Really?
Yeah, my dad and I watched a lot of film noirs, 40s and 50s film noir. So I've seen a lot of this. You
desaturated it.
I don't know what it was, but the perfect chin just kicked it into 1950s film noir for me.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
I love that.
We saw the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's creepy, but very, very cool. I love it. All right, so Vaughn, you've name dropped quite a few awesome folks that you are going to have contribute to this album. That's super exciting. So besides Rob, is there a dream guest vocalist that you would love to have on the album that you haven't asked or you're afraid to ask?
Good question. I don't know. Off the top, no one's hitting my head. Do you have a suggestion?
No, I don't.
I wasn't sure if you had someone waiting.
No.
I do like listening to Brian Belknap sing, and I know that you guys have worked with him on some.
I do like him.
Oh.
Yeah, this is true.
Although he's in Mind Machine, he's in
Blacklight. He's
Every time I get tired listening to how many bands he's in, just because I'm like, I picture like the effort that it takes and I just crumble. Like, I don't know how he does it.
I know.
Like, that creative output is like bonkers to me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Hats off to Brian.
Yeah. Speaking of not sleeping, does he sleep? I think he may not.
I have never
Did he
sent
say
him
he's
a
like
message.
singing in the car on the way to work? Like, he's constantly doing it, you know?
Yep. I have never sent him a message where he hasn't responded within like 5 minutes. You know, he is out on the West Coast with you, so there's quite a time difference. But if I get up in the morning at 9 o'clock, if I send him something, I hear back.
Is he a vampire?
Ooh,
He might be.
maybe.
They have that song.
I'm thinking through it now. He asked for no garlic when we were in Philly and he was ordering at the Thai
He
restaurant.
did. I remember that.
Just saying. We might be missing the signs.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited to hear that we're going to get this solo album. It's funny to call an album a solo album. There's going to be a dozen people on it, but it is a Von Hertzog solo album. Oh, hey.
Well, yeah. Instead of doing all instrumentals anymore, you know, I figured liven it up. I know a lot of good artists.
Yeah.
So why not enlist them?
Those hip hop artists that you're going to have on there, are any of them I remember you telling me that back in the day you sampled the HBO music.
Yes, he is on there.
Is he?
Reef the Lost Cause.
Awesome.
Yeah. He turned his track in already. It's fantastic. He did
Cool.
32 straight bars of rhymes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
It's good stuff.
Oh, that's super cool.
Well, we will keep everybody aware of any updates in any of these projects. We'll share it on our social media when things start to come out. So keep your eyes peeled. You can also follow the guys on social media directly.
That's
And
right.
get the breaking news as it breaks. So we have two questions for you in closing to wrap things up. Before we close, we just mentioned once again that tomorrow on Bandcamp at vhxrr.com, the new song When Morning Comes will be released. So be sure to go at least listen to it. But while you're there, you might as well buy yourself a copy of it because you know you want it.
That's right.
So that's where you can find that. Now, don't judge me too harshly. Over the past 10 years, I've watched a lot of television shows on the CW network
Okay.
because they have all the superheroes. And it didn't take long before I realized that a huge percentage of the music in these shows was music by newer bands who were writing pop music influenced by acts from the 80s and the 90s. And to me, your songs would be perfect for any number of shows and music. As someone who's outside of this whole industry, and I know absolutely nothing, even though I've recorded 170 podcasts about music, is there some way for you guys to get your music in the ears of these content providers, be it streaming or something like the CW? And if so, like, have you been working on that at all? Because I just watched these shows and I'm like, Sky Full of Ghosts would have been awesome in this scene. Like sometimes when I'm driving to work and I have no one to talk to, I have a little daydream where I like finance a movie and I hire you guys to put the songs in it. I would love that, and it would broaden the appeal, get the word out for so many people.
Oh, you know, that was initially the thought process behind signing to Lakeshore for the first EP was that the attempt is to try and get the songs licensed, you know. Up until now, not yet. But when we signed, John Bergen, the guy who signed us, told me out the gate, he was like, look, sometimes it takes 5 years before you get your placement. But when you do, you know, things end up being worth it.
Yeah. Do you think that the timing of that, if I recall, didn't you sign with them like pretty much like right in the early couple months of COVID? Wasn't that time with that?
So we signed with them we got to the point where the music was finished and they liked it by like 2018. They were in the process of being bought. Lakeshore Records was being bought by like the Cutting Edge Group because, you know, music publishing gets bought and sold, I'm sure, as you see all the time, right?
Yeah.
Right. So one group buys the other, and it took forever for the new group to take over and then the lawyers to update the contracts and get us to sign everything. But we ended up only signing in January 2020. It took that long for all the paperwork and everything to get done. And then 6 months until it came out. How do we get it in TV shows? I think we need to know more musical supervisors.
Okay.
If you know any, send them our way or send our music their way. But yeah, I think they're the key to getting music on shows.
Yeah, I kind of asked that question knowing that if it was easy, you would have already done it. I was just curious.
Well, we don't have a manager or anything. So, you know, if Rob or I aren't actively doing it, no one is doing it. So,
Yeah.
And we both work and have lives. So,
And I honestly have never understood the process of how you go about that. I'm an artist, not a business person. So
Yes, I complain about that all the time. I was like, they are two wildly different brain types. And while one works for me, the other one seems so foreign. Like, it's just not how I think.
yeah, it can happen. There's a band, Crosses, that did a cover of a C&E song, Beginning of the End. And it had only been out like a few months, and then we were contacted because it was getting put into a show on Tubi or on one of those things. So it can be done, and obviously those guys must have some kind of publishing deal or something like that, where
representation. Yeah, someone
got
who's
representation.
copying it.
Yeah, getting sync licenses and stuff like that. So it can be done.
If anyone out there is a sync license person and they want to help us.
Yeah. Or Brian,
awesome.
if you want to become a music supervisor, that would probably be the easiest for us.
Or manager and just make calls on our behalf all day.
All right,
You get a percentage. We're happy to share the wealth. You know,
all right, I'm going to start whatever it is I
it
have
just
to do.
needs to be wealth to share.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Sounds good.
Oh my gosh.
There's probably some kind of like music supervisor correspondence course you can take through the mail or something like that. You know,
It sounds good to me at first, but I feel like I'd become one of those managers that becomes evil and screws over the band, and then we'd end up in
dude.
court. You guys
We're
would sue
giving
me.
you the chance, and you're already telling us you're going to screw us? Come on, man.
I don't like how quickly your mind went to that.
We went
That's
right to behind the
disturbing.
music.
Yeah. I think, Sarah, if I was in that world, I would just be diabolical.
Oh.
all right, you're fired. Sorry.
Oh, over
was short
before it
lived.
begins. All
And
right.
this is why the music isn't on TV, guys.
Right.
It's so difficult to find anyone trustworthy in this
That's
business.
right. I mean, he's trustworthy enough to tell you he's going to screw you over before he even begins. So there's that.
I always remember A Tribe Called Quest said, industry rule number 4080, record company people are shady.
I like it.
It's been accurate ever since.
All right, so we got one more question for you as we close up this little discussion that we have. So you're working on new music. Hopefully it's going to be a new EP or an LP. Not really sure yet, but we're crossing our fingers. But throughout all this, you are still collaborating remotely and you still have not met in person, correct?
We have not.
Yeah. So is a face-to-face meeting something that you are considering at some point? And if so, what will you do if after 15 minutes you realize you can't stand each other?
That's the fear, right? So I understand how annoying I am. I keep my distance. I'm not trying to ruin what I have going. That all said, I love Rob and I'd love to meet him, but I also don't want to ruin whatever chemistry exists in the will they, won't they, This is our rom-com and we're not kissing yet.
Yep, right.
Right.
I will get out to the East Coast at some point. I'm coming for the pizza that you make. So,
Come on in.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Happy
pizza
to
looks
cook.
great on Instagram. Oh my God.
I know.
Well, I'll have you guys over within the next month here, and I will happily make you pizza. And Rob, you're always welcome, as always.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank you.
wave it in his face. Ha, ha, ha.
I have not been to the West Coast since 2006.
That's a long
been a while.
time.
It is. I've been to Europe and Mexico before, more recently than I've been to the West Coast. It's far.
Yeah, the East Coast is farther from the West Coast than the West Coast is farther from the East Coast. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying, I am just like a hair shy of 6'4", and I don't fit in many seats.
Oh, yeah.
And
No, I
I
get
don't
that.
travel far because I tap out at about 4 to 5 hours in a car and less in a plane.
That's why you got to go private, man. I keep telling you.
I got to hit up I got to call my PJ.
You still have the cause and effect jet, the private jet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Oh my
the
God, that's
G6.
awesome. I didn't know.
Yeah. It's the one thing I kept. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, guys, thanks so much for agreeing to talk with us here on the eve of the release of your brand new single, When Morning Comes. It's a treat as always. I'm a little sad that, by the end of this, I got fired by both of you. That's kind of impacted our relationship a little bit. Well,
we gave you a shot, man.
You did. I guess it is my own fault.
Maybe I ought to step up.
You walked off the plank in your own head. We didn't even get there.
I'm going to start looking into these correspondence courses.
Definitely. So one last time, folks, you've got to go to vhxrr.com, which is a direct link to buy the new song on Friday, probably the Friday that you're listening to this. That'll be, what's the date of that actually? The 30th?
9:30. Yep.
So,
no, 6:30. Jesus.
Yep, June
6:30
is the release date. Be sure to check that out. The guys have always been great here on the podcast. You love those earlier EPs. So this is definitely a song you'll want to check out.
That's right. Yeah, I'm super excited about it, and I'm sure that you are going to love it too.
So guys, I hope you have a great weekend. We're going to get this edited in time, guaranteed, but we are going to see The Cure tomorrow and Sunday. So we're very
cool.
excited.
Wait, you're seeing them back-to-back nights? Or?
Yes, we are.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. So
we're like, I'm going to see them play everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're
Yeah.
missing nothing. That's awesome.
I know.
Where are you guys going?
Wells Fargo tomorrow and Meriwether Post in Columbia, Maryland, Sunday.
Oh, Maryland.
I better get going so I can start editing before we head out. I want to make sure this is done with all the good music in there for everybody to enjoy.
Yes.
So guys, one last time, thanks again.
Thank you for doing it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for premiering it. Enjoy the concert. See ya.
Well, even though they fired me, Sarah, I do want to thank both Vaughn and Rob for joining us for this episode of the podcast. It is always fantastic to talk with them. I love both those guys, and it's always a treat to have them on here.
Absolutely, yeah. And hey, you can always keep your job here at Permanent Record Podcast. I think,
thank you.
Yeah, you're a very valued employee here.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, totally agree with you. It's always wonderful talking to Vaughn and Rob, and I'm very, very excited about their new song, When Morning Comes. And you should be excited too, because if you're listening to this on Friday, it is out now, available for you to get and enjoy at vhxrr.bandcamp.com, or just go to vhxrr.com. You're definitely going to find some good stuff there.
We have them on here a few times now, and so, I'm expected to be polite to these guys and be complimentary to them because they're coming on our show. But I seriously love this music. Like, this is the music, like, things that have come out since 2020 that I listen to more than everything else.
Yeah.
They're so good, so talented. June 30th is the release date of this new track, When Morning Comes, and I can't recommend it highly enough.
Yeah, I don't know if I said this to you or to them or anybody, but I've been thinking it in my head. I really think this is my favorite VHXRR song so far.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, spoiler alert.
I'm not going to go that far because I still love Sky Full of Ghosts.
Well, yeah. It's hard to say, but that's how I feel about it right now, that it's my favorite. So, good job. You got to go check it out. And when you listen to it, go post on their socials, please, and let them know how much you love it. You can do that at VHXRR, of course. On Facebook, they are found at VHXRR Music. And there you go.
Podcasters always say, make us look good.
Yeah.
When you're requesting people do this, but we would really appreciate it if you do make us look good and give some feedback to the guys, because they're fantastic. And, we've been listening, like we told you years ago, we've been listening to Rob since we started dating back in back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
So it's a real treat to get to talk with him.
Yeah. Have it, make it worth their while that they come on here, right? Let them know that it's worth their time to talk with us all this time. Show them some love, because they're worth it.
Yep, and we appreciate that. So thanks so much for listening. We hope you do all those wonderful things that we just suggested, and we'll talk to you soon. I think we might get something released in the next week or so about our trip to see The Cure that we mentioned in this episode.
Yeah, sounds good to me.